actually from Huntington. I was born and raised here my entire life. I've been here 46 years. I hail from Markham Terrace. The project's where I started at. Born and raised.
At what age did you recognize that you had artistic ability?
That's a tricky question. I personally didn't know anything about this. This started in Head Start because I was born in the Reaganomics era of the government. They had special programs in the projects, and we all know Markham Terrace has a community building in the middle of it, and that's where I went to Head Start at. And they found it there, like I had an artistic ability there. It's actually documented in the Herald-Dispatch from the 80s. But there was something back then, I guess they saw, and I've been an artist ever since, so I've never not known art. My mom was an artist. She was born and bred here as well, you know, and she was more of like folk art, you know, things like with materials and things, you know, and she had some pieces in the museum here in Huntington as well. I just recently, in the last 10 years, got those back from the city of Huntington, yeah. Because they had them for their folk art expo every year that they do. And they're hanging in the wall of my house right now, yeah. So my mom was an artist, so I guess it was born in. You have to have bulletproof nerves, first and foremost. You can't let anything jar you. You know, and that comes from the projects originally in the beginning here. You gotta have bulletproof will and nerves and know that you're confident in creating this art using a person's body. You go from a flat, you know, 2D surface to a three-dimensional living, breathing surface that is flawed when you get it most times. I mean, a scar, a scab, a certain skin type, darker skin versus lighter skin, all these things weigh variables in tattooing and producing the look of the art you're going for. I do. It was a kanji symbol, which is a Chinese letter, or a cluster of letters meaning a phrase, thing, statement, or whatnot. And it was on my brother. I did a just all black kanji letter on him on a Tuesday, because I got my kit on a Monday. Tuesday came, I went to Billy's shop over in Chesapeake at the time, and I tattooed him there. And then the next day, a girlfriend of mine I was dating at the time years ago wanted a tattoo, and I did a full color tattoo on her the next day, which was unheard of. Like you couldn't jump between so fast without any formal training. And I had a lot of tattoos at this point, so I'd been paying attention to tattoos overall, but I never thought I was gonna be a tattoo artist at this point. And it all was kind of like thrusted upon me by my peers, you know, like Billy brought it up one day, and it was just like a trickle effect of a snowball going down a hill, you know. It just became my life at that point. So, full disclosure, I had a whole different life before this, so that's how I met Billy. We were friends in that world. And most of these things go with music and arts, which is the reefer world. I met him through that, and he saw something in me at the time that I didn't see. I was getting ready to have my daughter. This was probably 6 months before my first child was born. And he said a poignant phrase to me as a friend and as a comrade. And it was, do you want to leave that for your child to know? Is that all you want your child to know you as, is a drug dealer or just a scallywag of the streets, or, you know, not being accomplished in nothing in life? Let me give you this and give it so you can give it to her one day. This all comes full circle, believe you me. But in the moment, I'm mad because what kind of a friend tells you not to live your life, not to be who you really are? So I kind of just shrugged it off at the time. I was like, man, that's what you do. I don't do that. Not thinking like, yeah, there is an artist in me. I just don't practice it. It's long gone. And in our time frame, people they wasn't buying Picassos and putting them on the wall. Art wasn't as relevant as it is today in the modern time. So I didn't think I could ever make a living being an artist. I knew that most artists that were great, they lived like a pauper, like a poor person, like the worst of the worst. And then they died and became famous at that point. And I didn't never want that existence. So I was going a whole different route in life, and that's the only route I knew, at that point. So tattooing came to me and embraced me, so I had to embrace it back. It had to be one and the same, I told my apprentice, my daughter, everybody that I've ever given this gift to that you have to live it. You cannot just turn it off. You are tattooed every day, all day, no matter where you're at. You're going to be known for that if you're good at it. And this is one thing that Billy didn't put in such elegant terms, is that I was going to be harassed the rest of my life in every gas station and grocery store that I went in a 3-state radius, So it does come with a little bit of fame. I try not to pay too much attention to it because I still like being an artist at heart. And some people let things go to their head. I'm not a social media guy or in the now guy. I consider myself a caveman in this game because I still use a coil machine and I do everything manual versus what the kids have, which is pre-made everything and a pen that you can just click in and click out of real quick. And I'm considered a caveman at this point. So Billy passed on the true essence of tattooing. Like, it has to be taught and given to you, or it's not worth anything. You can't be great at it if you didn't earn it. Oh, I have a near and dear friend that I grew up with here in Huntington. His name is Carlos Culberson. He is known as Zulu Painter on Instagram. This man always told me I was the best artist, and I begged to differ every time. I would always say, no, bro, you're the best artist. So me, him, and his twin brother, which is an amazing artist too. He could be our modern day Norman Rockwell if he really tried, This man is an amazing painter in realism. But Carlos he has fused two worlds of realism and geometrics, and he does murals and walls. I mean, he is doing this for a living every day down in St. Petersburg, Florida. You have to, tag him in this. He's amazing. He's one of my favorite artists on earth and always has been. Next to tattoo artists that I know that are, true painters and true lovers of art. Joe Cabianca was one of my first, inspirations of tattooing outside of seeing Billy's work and being a part of that world. The traveling circuit of tattoo artists that are out there. You meet some greats, man. So it's hard to say who's my favorite because I love a lot. So if I was to sit here and list everyone that I dug, it'd take up the whole interview. You know what I'm saying? So. But those are the 2 poignant ones. The 3 poignant ones was Carlos in my younger years, Joe Capo and Billy when I got into tattooing, and then we all knew of the greats, the Monets, the Picassos, the Da Vinci's, all these great artists and creators throughout the world. So I mean, I get a lot of inspiration from a lot of things. It's the escape from everything. It's the solitude of the world, It's just me creating this thing for other people to either enjoy or not. It doesn't really matter if they, dig it or not. It's all about getting that expression out in that moment. Some of that's, based in woes of just everyday life, or just frustration of being stagnant in what you're doing in tattooing, because tattooing falls into these little trends of things that people want done to their bodies, and it's repetitive. It's real repetitive. So to be able to go home and paint till 6 a.m. till the sun comes up and my wife's getting ready to go to work is real refreshing for me on certain days and certain times, because you have to have that solitude and that moment of expression to yourself in order to get the maximum out, the max capability of your skill set. So if I can push it on a canvas, it also pushes me on the skin, so I become better on the skin as well, because it's one and the same type of hand movements and gestures. So it's kind of like they say muscle memory. I've got a lot of muscle memory put in because my wife can testify to me coming home at 10 o'clock at night from work, taking a shower and go straight into my studio and don't come out of it until she brings me like something to eat or something to drink. 6-7 hours later, that the night has done passed through and it's morning again, and I've just locked into this painting that I'm obsessing over. It gets out a lot of like little disorders that you might have in life, like angsty things or OCD or ADD, any of these things that I could have been diagnosed with as a child if my mom would have put me into that world, but she never did. I probably am OCD, ADD, compulsive disorders and all that stuff, and it helps with the art of tattooing because you can't miss. You gotta be spot on 99.9% of the time. I see a lot of tattoo artists in this modern day, they're not doing what I do. So I guess that's the setting apart of who really cares about their craft or not. I know some tattooers and I know some tattoo artists. There's a real difference there. So if you can only trace an image and reproduce it, and I give you a blank sheet of paper and you can't come up with your own image from scratch and reproduce it onto the skin, you're not necessarily a tattoo artist, you're just a tattooer. Because you can only do things that are already prefabricated. So that was a big thing about coming into the game when I did, is you had to be able to draw and paint. So all the people that work with me draw and paint, for sure. People who truly know me know I'm a real down-to-earth person. I'm a pretty humble guy. Now, my confidence comes across as cockiness sometimes, but I'm confident about, what we're getting ready to do, because I know it's for the rest of your life. So I would rather someone be confident in what they're doing that, than to be kind of iffish or ho-hum or not really into it. So I get excited about it, and then in turn their excitement gets, and because I can see their lucid dream they're telling me, because all of these tattoos are just lucid, thoughts in people's heads and visions that they can see, but they don't know how to put that together. And that's where my magic comes into play. I can get it out of your head verbally into a visual that can be put onto your skin. So that's the trick. Like my friend says I have wizard blood. And she notes all the greats through history, like, all these great people, they had wizard blood. You're a wizard, you have wizard blood. You can see lucid dreams, and you're actually a dream weaver. And I never thought about it, I never think about it, because I still love my job after 25 years, I like getting here every day and seeing what's going on, because it's always a different person, different personality. A different upbringing. I'm kind of like a modern day therapist as well as an artist, because people come here to get it out, to pour their heart out, to get a RIP tattoo. So with that comes a long story of why they're getting this tattoo, or it might be a something behind their skill set, like they're a welder. They want to get a welding tattoo, and I got to figure out how to get this impossible mission of a tattoo done to their liking, so they can carry it around for the rest of their life and love it and show it to other people, which in turn causes more work for myself. I use a various spectrum of inks. They're all the top brand, I try to use the high-end brands of ink, the number 1, the number 2 brands, because it shows in the end result of the work. So I try to use the best equipment that is available. My tattoo machines are something that most tattooers will tell you they've had for half of their career, or most of their existence as far as a tattooer goes, is because once you have that tool that defines you, you don't want to accept anything else. Like, I have a cat who uses what they call a stylus. It's like a pen setup, and it has a cartridge system that you click in the needle tips, and you click out like different sizes and different styles of them. It's a lot easier ergonomically on your hands. You know, they say it, you know, cuts down on carpal tunnel. I don't have any signs of carpal tunnel, and I've been using a traditional coil electromagnetic machine for 25 years. Actually, the same one I was given in pieces by Billy, and told me, if you can get that put together, you can tattoo. So I sat there for a few hours, most of the day to be exact, and got that machine together and running, and I still use it every day for a tattoo. So it's one of those things like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But there is easier ways to apply a tattoo for some people than others. I just choose to use the true and most, you know, direct method, and that's tube and needle, straight from that machine. That machine's going to be moody. It's going to have, it's like an old car, you know, it's going to have days where it's running tip top. Then there's other days you're going to have to play with it and turn a screw and do this and do that and manipulate it. It's still about using your hands and being able to mold what's going on. You have full control of everything in that moment. That's the reason why I say I'm an old schooler, but I don't do a lot of traditional style tattoos, which are like Sailor Jerry and all these Bowery tattoos of the early 30s and up in the New York era. But I do what I mean by old school. They call this a shotgun shop, where you can walk in off the street and just get tattooed at a random, because there's someone sitting there waiting for you to come in that door, regardless of everybody else doing tattoos around them. There's at least one person ready for you. So these are called shotgun shops, when you can just walk in off the street and get a shotgun shop tattoo. But most tattoos done in the modern day are private studio tattoos, where you have to have an appointment, and this person's probably not going to speak to you until you sit in the chair, and you get to sit in this awkward silence of a no, when you walk in here, you think it's a nightclub, because the music's loud, there's machines running, there's people talking over the music and the machines, and just a lot of chaos going on. And if you cannot hone in and focus in the midst of chaos as an artist, you can never work in a place like this, because this is what tattooing really was. It all started out as an assembly line style, like you would get line work from one person, shading from the next, color from the next, and then you're done. It wasn't done by one person in the beginning. It was done as like work. You know, it was an assembly line so they could get the most people in and out, you know, daily. And this is how it was done for years. We've just refined it and honed it into a better, more sterile setting, you know what I'm saying, as far as modern tattooing goes. But I try to keep it to the barest roots I can, you know. I wouldn't ask my artists to do anything I wouldn't do, you know, at the end of the day. So they are, I hear them tell other people like, well, Saka doesn't bark orders at us. He just gets in the mud and does it with us, you know. So there's a respect level you gotta have for a person like me who don't put himself on a pedestal after 25 years or get caught up in, you're famous and you're known. Yeah, I'm an internationally published artist, but I don't tell people that because it's not relevant. I'm a father first, more than anything, you know, and tattooing is my life, and I've built a great family and a great life off of tattooing alone. So there's nothing about tattooing that I don't love and don't try to keep at its purest form. You know, when you start, I always joke with a friend of mine, I said, when they took violence out of tattoo shops, it got weird. When you couldn't like be held accountable for what you did today, tomorrow, everything got different, you know, because I remember showing up to work and there was a dude standing in the lobby with a chain and a buck knife ready to ruin my day because I so-called tattooed his underage daughter who had a fake ID, which I did my end and did the paperwork on. So I had this fake ID on record with her signing as a 21-year-old when she was actually 17. So the next morning I had to deal with dad and granddad ready to put hands on me and do me dirty over touching their daughter and granddaughter. That's where it went sideways back in the days. Like, okay, I crossed the line here. But it wasn't to my own undoing. She lied to me. This is how it went. So then they calmed down real quick and apologized and walk on out the door, but would send me work because I was an honest fella. you know, and that was the world that I lived in. It was a peculiar world at the time, but these kids now, they don't have no threat of that. Like, they can say, you know, wild shit to people, and sorry for the cursing, but they can say wild things to people and get away with it. Like, people take it on the chin, you know, and I don't allow none of that. Like, I make it plain and known. The customer is never right in tattooing. I'm always going to be right, just because it's for the rest of your life. So I'm going to do what's right for you. You might not see it that way, but you'll thank me for it later, you know. So this is the only profession that the customer is not right. So we get that known straight out the gate. And then I tell my artists, you have the moment where you can bow out of doing a tattoo if you're not vibing with that person, or this person's talking crazy to you, like aggressively or something, or making you feel compromised or something. Then just bow out. Just tell them you're not the person for them. They can ask someone else to do their tattoo, you know. And that's a great option to have, but we didn't have options like that in the early days. We was, you know, Billy was tight about, you know, get to work, bro, quit playing. So. Well, I'll start off with a thing I told my son. He's 16 now, but I always tell any young man that if you're a real man, you can cry. You know, and sometimes I have to cry with these people. You know, I have to feel that pain because I am a father. I do have loved ones, so I can get on their level and understand, you know, losing people. You know, most of my family's dead at this point. You know, I don't have a lot of family, neither does my wife. So we have a tight core of family, which is the shop and, you know, the immediate, my daughter, my son, my mom, you know, those are the only people I have. She has her parents left, you know. We both have siblings, but they're aloof on their journey, on their drug journeys, how I call it. So they're not even in our lives, you know. So I've dealt with everything from putting people's ashes in the ink. You know, this isn't frowned upon. Some people would find it an issue, or, oh, he's being unsanitary. No, these are incinerated ashes of a loved one. It's the same thing that the ink is made of, pigment. You know, it's ash, it's pigment. It's dead flowers make these colors, you know, and crushed up flowers make all these pigments that we have, and some of it's artificial, but a lot of it's root-based organically because it's going in people's skin and different types of people's skin. So it has to be tested in a spectrum that everybody can use it. So a lot of our ink is organic. So for me to sprinkle literally crumbs of ashes, I mean, just a little dust of ash in the black ink makes this person feel so much more different about their tattoo than they would have if it wasn't in there. So I'll even offer that, you know, like, were they cremated? Yeah. If you want to, this is an option. You don't have to. And I'll tell them, like, I'm willing to do that if it makes you feel even more closer to them, you know, so that you know you're carrying them around just outside of words being written on you or an image on you. And it blows their mind. It takes it to the next level. Like, you're willing to do that for me? Yes. Why not? You know, because I'm not doing anything wrong except for making it better for you. You know, make it more meaningful for you. So let's go. I'm down. I'm down for usually whatever. You know, I'm kind of a wild guy. I'm a tattoo artist, you know. First and foremost, my children. Oh gosh, they changed my life. It's one of my biggest works of art, greatest works of art, shall I say, is my children. And then outside of that, man, it'd be hard to say, bro. I've done just about everything you could imagine in this game, from full body suits, back pieces, just, I mean, 95% of the time I'll trick myself. I'll be in the store and see a really nice tattoo on someone, and I'll stop them and be like, man, who did that tattoo? And I'll look up at their face in that moment. They'll be giving me this, like, Saka, you did this tattoo. That's where I'm at with it at this point. I can't even remember how many I've done and how many people I've touched. But I do know I've been through 2 generations of people and getting ready to go into my 3rd, which is the children of the original clients that I started tattooing, so that were adults back in the day. So all those kids I've watched grow up and heard about through tattooing, I've met at 18, you know, as a tattoo. They need to get their first tattoo, and it's passed down throughout families. So I didn't start off with just one group of people. I inherited aunts, uncles, and cousins from that family. And then when those people had children or procreated, they brought their kids to me when it was time, and they'll bring their kids to me when it's time. And now I'm telling my son and my daughter, like, look, this is such and such that you know, this is their kid's kid, and they're of age now, and this is on you because you're younger than me. I'm not trying to take on this third generation. I'm trying to pass it to my children. So they'll have a third generation to pass their children one day, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all generational. It's all passed down through time. And that's how I've had this great body of work and all these great achievements. Everything from, refusing Ink Master a few 10, 11 times now to just being the most elusive man in the game and in town. And I move real, low-key, and you won't catch me out in the daytime too much because I'm at work, or I'm somewhere creating, painting in the woods or something. I live out in the woods, so I find solace in, doing things of that. And my greatest achievements are just still being here, bro. Like, in my age bracket for an inner city black male, you would be dead or in jail by 21. You and I both have a lot of peers who are not here today. So you understand what I'm saying when I say that. That was a big thing, and that was a statistic that they pumped to us in the mid-90s that we wasn't gonna be here at 21. And now I sit here at 46, and people call me an OG and a gatekeeper and all this. I still feel 18 in the head. My body's telling me different at this point, but I'm still young and in my mind. So I plan on being here for a while. I don't plan on tattooing forever, but I do plan on being here for a long time. So my greatest achievement is living a life that's worth somebody recording. That would be one of my greatest achievements, is like somebody that paid attention. I talk to my kids all the time. You know how your children are. Dad, whatever, But my kids are embracing it. They understand, like, okay, my dad's a cool guy, and he's done a lot. Like, everywhere I go, there's a tattoo that he's done, whether it be Kentucky or Ohio, I might be in. There's still a tattoo there that my dad's did on somebody within, feet of me. So I guess my overall greatest achievement is being around long enough to have this body of work that's so big. They printed in a international tattoo magazine one time that there was 300,000 people in Huntington. It was a typo. It was about 30,000 in Huntington. But when I start thinking, I do the math, I have about 150 in a 3-state radius that I got access to, though. So half that number would have been right in the magazine, but I'll take it. It was just hyping us up at the time. So it made Billy's head like super big. He was like, oh man, they misprinted and made us look big, So that's what kind of catapulted us into a lot of work and so-called stardom and fame of tattooing, because we were good at what we were doing, but we could do it in a high volume, like 3 or 4 a day, 5, 6 a day, and accomplish that in a 12-hour time frame. That was a lot of work. So to say what my greatest accomplishment is would just be this steady body of work. The overall showing my children that you get up every day and you have a goal and you achieve the goal and you go home with your conscience clear. You didn't do anybody foul. You helped someone today. You done a good deed. At the end of the day, tattooing is just doing good deeds for me at this point. I tell people I've had millions of dollars. I'm not worried about the money. I'm worried about doing the right things. It's the moral thing that I'm sticking to in this modern day, is the moral compass, shall we say. So that's my greatest achievement, is having a mind that allows me to stay young, but still know what's going on and stay relevant without compromising my old school ways. So I can be the old dude who's wore 90s style for the past 20 years and is coming back around to be in style again. Because I told my daughter one time, I was angry with her. I said, look, you don't have a job. I own those skinny jeans you're wearing. Knowing I couldn't even get my thigh in those skinny jeans. So I've lived long enough to watch fashion come back to the fashion I'm still in, brother. I love it. It's a great feeling, because I know people who are not here that I love dearly. And that would be my biggest achievement, is just being alive at this point. You know what I mean? And I thank the gods of the earth every day for being here. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose, so I'm gonna use every minute to my maximum, shall I say.
When I asked you to share with us some of your greatest achievements, obviously you mentioned your kids.
Yes.
And I didn't know this until I got here.
Right.
But your daughter is also a tattoo artist.
Yeah, works for me.
So when you talk about full circle, that's it right there. How does it make you feel that your child has followed your footsteps?
Great, because she worked regular jobs first. You know, she worked in fast food. She worked for friends of mine in their eateries and such. So, but she's always been at a high level doing that. She was a manager in high school at Arby's. And I told her, I was like, look, you're a leader. You're not a follower. It's obvious because of where you're at in life. And I was like, you should lead your own life to greatness instead of working so hard for someone else. Do it for yourself. So I forced her into a moment where she had to tattoo a fake skin palette. And this girl did a clean tattoo straight out the gate. No, just watching over the years. That's all she's ever done. She had painted and drawn her whole life, but to tattoo and to have the whereabouts, because she's a left-handed person. And left-handed people have to completely adjust everything because it's made mostly for right-handed people in this world. So I fashioned a machine to where she could use it left-handed and do a tattoo, and the tattoo was clean on a fake skin palette, which is harder than a real person. It's easier to tattoo a real person than these fake skin palettes. But she achieved the goal. And I told her, I said, you've been wasting time. You need to get to the family business. You know, I'm the tattoo shop owner now. I'm the old guy. Like, I got to give this to someone. I got to pass it to someone. In the year she started tattooing, a few other kids that she had grew up with, I was paying attention to as artists, and I brought them into a fold, and I kind of built all 3-4 of them together so they could have a run like me, Billy, and Matt did back in the 2000s, you know, the early 2000s. And because they all get along, they can all, if one's angry, they all know how to cheer that person up, you know. It's like a family affair. Like I said, it's a family thing here. My son's 16, and he has done 50 tattoos or more himself, and he's in high school. He's the heir apparent. We all know that. But I want him to be a kid first, you know, because I got that taken away at an early age, having to grow up too fast. So I told his mom, I was like, look, he could be tattooing right now, but I want him to focus in school, and I want him to get school done, because that wasn't one of my accomplishments. I'm a high school dropout, you know, and I've achieved, you know, a millionaire lifestyle. I literally have the money, I have the property, I have all those things that people want to aspire to in life, and it means nothing if you don't have nobody to love or to give it to at the end of the day, because you can't take it with you. You never see no U-Hauls behind no hearse. So I've done all this to give it to them. And to see my daughter every day, you know, like she lives right upstairs above the shop. So she lives the ultimate, you know, she don't even have to drive to work. So she can't use any excuses with dad not to be at work. And, but she's watched my work ethic for years, and she knows, like, nah, you gotta get it in every day. We don't take days off. We might go on vacation occasionally, but we don't take days off. So we're tattoo artists 24/7 hours out of the day. But it's so fulfilling because I watched her waste time until she got here. You know, and now that she's here, she's like, you were right. You know, and no kid wants to tell their parent that you were right. You know what I mean? So for her to say, Dad, you were right, I won right there. That was the greatest.
You know what they say about small towns, like, you can't get by with nothing. You know, he knows everything, but I never hear bad things about my dad. I always hear good things. I always hear the good things he's done for people, how he's impacted their lives in the best ways. So you're in a small town, your dad has this high profile, he's this high profile person, you got these standards to live up to. But he doesn't make me, you know, feel pressured about it really. Like, he let me figure out my own way, and here I am today. My whole life, we've always done art together. I always remember anything artsy. Like, I remember coming home from school with stuff draw all over my jeans, and my mom would be like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, they're my tattoos. Like, I just couldn't draw them on my skin. I had pants on, so I've always done art. We've always done art together. My art's a lot similar to his because, you know, that's who's taught me art, who's inspired me to do art. But really it's like writing and stuff. That's really what he's known for around here is his writing and his portraits. So that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I want to be able to do what he does whenever he doesn't, you know, want to do tattoos full time all the time.
Young kid wants to become a tattoo artist.
Mm-hmm.
What's your advice?
Go to art school, because I've seen a lot of kids come through here wanting to be a tattoo artist, but it's because they don't want to. They think it's all glitz and glamour. They think it's, you know, I get to live this rock star lifestyle and I don't have to conform or none of that. But if I have to teach you art and then teach you tattooing, it's not worth it to me, because that's 3 or 4 years down the road from now. You don't seem like the person that's gonna, you know, do that. So if you can achieve the college first, if you can achieve the art school first, then that will prove to me that you can, you know, focus in on something and take it seriously. So what I always tell them is art school first, and then I'll take you seriously. Other than that, we're just talking in the wind, because I've met few phenoms. I'm one of them. Well, it's given me a lot. It's taken me a lot of places. It's taken me to different continents, different, you know, states, different places all over this globe. I mean, it's done a lot for me. It's given me a lot of discipline, loyalty. There's all kinds of things I could name. But ultimately, it gave me a life that I wouldn't have had any otherwise. You know what I mean? Because I was one of the people headed on a road to nowhere, and it's what my mom and dad both wanted for me the most, was just to be an artist, because my dad didn't want me to be like him, and my mom never pursued art because she had kids. So she always wanted it for me as well, to be an artist of some sort. She didn't know it would be tattooing, of course, and neither did I, you know. And I still feel like I have a 10-year painting career that I got to get to. That's why I'm trying to get these kids in here, trying to get my kids in here to, like, hey, get to work, hold the family business down. I've got to get some paintings done so I can get my Met Gala showing, because it's coming. I still have greatness in me. I got to get it out, you know. And some of it can't be tattooed, it has to be painted. So I tell my wife all the time, I've got a 10-year painting career I gotta get to still. So, like, these kids gotta get under toe and get to work and get everything lined out properly so I can go. I don't wanna be the guy that stayed too long or that, you know, wore out his welcome, or my skill set diminished. When I wanna go out like Kobe. You know, like Jordan, I want to go out in my prime, you know what I mean? Like, where I'm the best I can be, and I'm the best model of what it should be in this game, in this town, and then I can walk away. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is that. I am Saka Minor, and I am Huntington.